willingness, perseverance, persistence, and resilience are critical. There's a sacred knowing deep within us that always supports and guides us. Combined with courage, tenacity, and keen inner listening, this innate knowing will deliver us from and through absolutely anything. And as we work in partnership with Spirit, all things are truly possible, especially the seemingly impossible. So now our topic for this week is going to be higher heights, and our speaker is my amazing spouse, Rev. Steph. Amand.
Someone tall so that she could reach all the top shelf things. Right? Okay. Holy boldness. Oh my goodness. I'm going to invest in a Bluetooth. Hi, beloveds. Oh my goodness. So good to see you. So good to be with each and every one of you. Hi, Ian. Oh, I just want you to, let's start right here. Every time I get to do a talk, I just want you to know that I am so blessed to be in your presence, to be speaking with you, because I love talking about this, and often I'm just talking to my plants. So when people are listening to me, I am so blessed. I'm so grateful that you're here. So today, higher heights. Higher heights. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. And every day we are getting better at something. We are getting better at something. So let's take a look at what that might be. Oh, this is such a hot mic. Okay. So the first thought that came to me when I saw higher heights, I was like, higher sights lead to higher heights. Higher sights lead to higher heights. You have to be looking forward to even know that you want to be higher in life. You have to be looking forward. So when we set our sights higher, we get to move forward in that direction. And we are always growing and evolving in our experience. We are always growing, always evolving in spirit. Our spiritual consciousness is always expanding and lifting us higher. It's always pulling us forward. Sometimes what we see as resistance, it's actually Spirit pulling us through some thicker things. And we feel that resistance because we are in our comfort zone. I was thinking about these tables in the back row. Oh, comfort zone. Hi, everybody. Yes.
Where are we?
So we need to expand our vision if we're going to see higher heights. If we're going to reach the top of the mountain, we don't hang out at the bottom of the mountain kicking rocks around trying to figure out which way is up. We know which way is up, and we have the power within us to be in that always. And again, I'm going to just reiterate. I've said this 3 times in the last 3 talks. Willingness. Oh, there it is again. The willingness to look up, the willingness to seek a new horizon, the willingness to expand and to grow and to evolve and to get out of the comfort zone. Oh my goodness, everyone who was here for meditation, again, shout out to Taria. I'm just so blessed to be in her meditations because they are leading us somewhere. They are guiding us to a higher understanding of whatever it is she's working through in it for us. And so she's in that talking about that comfort zone. And we have to be willing to step out. We have to be willing to open the door. We have to be willing to fling open the gates. I love that song. Somebody left the gate open. Right? Have you ever seen a dog find that the gate was left open? It is out of there. And we have that possibility in our lives to open the gate because we have thumbs. We can open the gate ourselves and let ourselves flood through. So we can't lift our vision and expectations with a downward gaze. walking in our life going, everything is against me, I'm kicking rocks, I'm stumbling and falling around, because what we focus on expands. So if we're focused on what is below us, what is beneath us, what all the lessons we've already learned, we keep pulling out the same book and going, I've already learned this lesson, let's do it again. So we cannot see new horizons, we cannot find new vision if we have a downward gaze. We must elevate our vision, we must look upward. There's actually a spiritual practice Emma Curtis Hopkins did. Just a 90-degree, eyes looking up at the horizon. And that is where you will do your spiritual work, right there, just staring upwards. Because even in that, we are elevating the energy in our lives, in our physical form. So now we have these things called memes, and they've been around forever. But my mom has been giving me memes, I put in quotation marks, since I was a little kid. She's always been handing me, here, this is inspirational. So she'll hand me things like old postcards that have like pretty paper taped to the back of it or glued to the back of it. And I have been carrying around this one postcard for 35 years. It's been in every one of my 29 moves. I know exactly where it is right now. And it's just a sunset with a sailboat sailing into the horizon that says, you cannot reach a new horizon if you fear to leave the shore. What a great thing to give an 11-year-old. But I knew there was some sort of wisdom in that, because I know exactly where it is today. And that message has been encoded in my mind since then. Because every time I move, I make sure I pack it. So I read it, and then I find it, oh, it's stuffed in a book this time. And I just keep going back to it. Because if you are afraid to reach for something new, you're missing out on something wonderful. Because life does not need to be so scary. I was diagnosed 30 years ago, chronic anxiety, maybe not 30 years ago, a while ago, it's been a minute. Chronic anxiety disorder, which means I have lived my entire life in the frequency of, oh my God, what's next? Oh, I found this teaching though. Oh, thank goodness I found this teaching. So when I found this teaching, I so needed a different mindset. I needed people in community reminding me that I was worth opening the floodgates. And so, living from that place of fear, I was afraid to leave the shore. I was always afraid to leave the shore. I would have panic attacks so bad waiting for the bus, people thought I needed an ambulance. No, it's okay, I'm just waiting for the bus. And life doesn't have to be that serious. But there are some of us that vibrate at such a frequency that we feel everybody's stuff walking through the streets, right? And so we just learn some stuff. We learn some nice mindset tools. I have one of my first ones, to leave the house when I needed to reach a new horizon, but there was fear blocking me. This was like so long ago. I would visualize zipping myself in to a light bubble. I literally zipped myself in before leaving the house so that I had a physical representation that nothing negative or nothing bad or nothing fearful could ever get into my space. And so what I really understood or came to find was that I didn't know my why. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have that thing that was on the horizon. I was living in my stuff every single day. And it's okay if that's where you are. It's absolutely okay if that's where you are right now. Because everyone in this room is one thing. One divine infinite intelligence expressing perfectly as a unique and unrepeatable expression of its source and substance. And so whatever it is we are in right now. So do you know your why? For even the simplest things. Why every morning we brush our teeth? Why every morning we make our coffee? Are we intentional in all of that? Because having a sacred morning, having a sacred moment with the moment that you are in, that's finding a new horizon. When you discover the way you think about things, the way you approach things, and you start finding your thoughts, the most fascinating and interesting things, you're going to find the why behind everything. Why I have a personal relationship as I cut my fruit and place it in my bowl. Having a sacred relationship with every moment allows every moment to be a new horizon, to be a stepping stone for the direction in which you do want to go intentionally and consciously. It's a stepping stone to raise you up into the fullest expression of who you are. Because we as human beings, as free spirits, we've been given this gift of consciousness. We've been given this gift of free thinking. I guarantee not one of us are having the exact same thoughts every single day, because we are each in our own unique expression. We are each a thread in the tapestry of wholeness, pulling its image and likeness into itself. And so in that consciousness, we have been given this gift of imagination. And imagination, we are all using it all the time because we are brilliant storytellers. We are brilliant storytellers. So beyond imagination, beyond our thinking, if we don't discover the moreness of our lives, if we don't move or change or evolve, if we just decide to stay in the same space and place in our lives, that's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. But in that place of powerful, bold imagination lies true potential for whatever it is you want to make form in your life. So beyond imagination is everything. Beyond my imagination is the possibility and potentiality of an infinite and eternal universe I can't even grasp yet because I only know one language. And so I don't know the words that the beloved wants me to speak. It only knows my feeling. And so our thinking changes our feelings. I was anxious. I'm not anxious anymore. Whew! I've done my work. I am now aware of my thinking, and I have this beautiful gift of the rebound time. That's the work that we do. Every morsel that we expand and grow, we are increasing, or shortening actually, our rebound time for anything that triggers us, anything that comes our way, how quickly our conscious mind is in tune with our unique and unrepeatable expression. So for me, it's loving presence. How fast can I get back to loving presence? So in the song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I wish I could just sing it right now, but I'm not that. Who sang that? Dad? Who sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Anyone? Julie Garland, yeah. She's got some range. I don't have that range. But in Somewhere Over the Rainbow, they talk about this place. Somewhere out there, dreams come true. Somewhere out there is your true potential. And what we know here is that when we engage in our imagination, when we engage in cleaning up our grammar and spelling of our own limited thinking, we engage in our true potential. Our potential is not out there. It lies right here in each and every one of us. And this life is about leveling up. I see this beautiful life as a video game. Because in a video game, I play video games. I like to level up in things. And so leveling up, you start out at level 0, and you don't know how to load your bag, you don't know where to go, you don't have a map yet, you don't have any tools. You've got to go and find these things. Doesn't that sound like life? You're 8 years old and you've got an imagination. You're 36 years old and you've got an imagination. You're telling stories and all of that. And so a lot of us believe, like, if this was a real life, we would have been given a manual. And so we have to just walk through every level. Some of us can do a lot of work in one level and then move up like snakes and ladders. That game, right? We can just go up. Oh, this is an easy ladder. I've been here before. I can get it up. I can get up there. And so as we level up, we learn. We find our tools. We find our resources. We find our respite. We find our restful places where we can restore our energy levels. And we find that we can level up by creating more experience in our lives. It's the same thing. Gaming, the gaming world, or our life. We have a need for resources. We find those resources. And so we have this opportunity within us because our true potential is already here. Our true potential is already here. And so all the leveling up we get to do is within us. And inside this video game that we are playing, every resource I will ever need on every level in the game is already in that game. I'm just finding it when it's the right time. So in me, right now, in you, right now, if you are leveling up in your life, what you are doing is gardening the growth and experience, noticing in your life where you're growing, noticing in your life where you're resisting, noticing in your life where you're letting things go and spreading your wings. This is beautiful, and we are not in this alone. It might feel like, oh my goodness, I've got one joystick and I am playing this game. It's not called a joystick anymore. Xboxes, right? Controllers. We've got a controller, and we're just playing this game. And right? Thank goodness we have thumbs. What would our games look like? So we're not alone. Everything we need is already loaded into this life. Everything that we ever will need or require is already in the infinite source and supply. Everything. How do I know this? For sure, absolutely, faithfully, undeniably, indomitably faithful in this. How do I know this? That's hard to explain. Because when you know, you know. When you've leveled up, make sure you're celebrating the level that you just completed. Take a look at it, spend time with it, and celebrate what you've just accomplished. Even though it looks muddy and fertilizer, oh my goodness, why are my legs so muddy? I've just made it through this whole thing. Don't chip off the mud and complain that you're muddy. Look how far you've come. Look at what you've done to get here. That's leveling up. And so every piece of this life, you are not alone. You are sourced and supplied. You've got a backpack of the divine. Ernest Holmes, he said, communion with the Spirit is one of the greatest privileges of life. Think about that. Privilege. Communion with the Spirit is one of the greatest privileges of life. By communion, we mean silently entering into divine harmony and beauty until we feel that harmony and beauty in our own souls and our own minds. Like the 4 practices for the mindset today, right? We have the tools to accomplish communion with the Spirit. It's as easy as this. Oh, hello, beloved. And so the spectrum of Spirit supplies us amply in everything. This infinite intelligent presence has already written all the code we need. Isn't that amazing? Ernest Holmes, he said in The Science of Mind, page 50, if you want to follow along. We are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. holy boldness, right? How much of this good is ours? All of it. All the code ever written, I have access to. And so we shift our minds. We elevate our consciousness. We come together in community and we sand each other and polish each other up so beautifully. Because we believe that heaven is a state of consciousness. It's not an everlasting thing we're trying desperately and urgently to be good people to get to. Because that's impossible. The state of consciousness that is evolved and elevating is illuminating. And that state of consciousness is heaven. And how do we level up to that? How do we level up to remembering heaven is a state of consciousness? Well, firstly, one of my favorite pieces of advice is eyes on your own plate. What does that mean, eyes on your own plate? It means I'm doing my work. If meditation and spiritual mind treatment and studying works for me in my path to enlightenment, that's great. I am not gonna, I get a microphone every now and then, so I'm gonna talk about it. But I'm not gonna force anyone to sit here and listen. We're all choosing to be here. And some people's spiritual practices don't fit me. And that's wonderful. Eyes on your own plate means find out what works for you and do that. You will save a lot of energy if you keep your eyes on your own plate. Because how much of our energy is expressing outwardly, trying to put things on other people's plates, or trying to take things off of other people's plates. Another way to say it is stay in your own line. Or as Tammy likes to tell me, get off my part. Find out what works for you and do that, because each and every one of us are unique. Each and every one of us have a unique, incredible journey to take in this life. And in my plate is the divine. On their plate is the divine. Each and every one of us are surrounded by, Ernest Holmes says, surrounded by an intelligent force and substance from which all things come. It is around us in its original state, ready and willing to take form through the impulse of our creative belief. Even spirit is willing. If spirit is willing, we know we can be because we're not separate. So we remove our hidden beliefs. Let us get out of our own minds and into the divine mind. Let us remove our hidden beliefs and tell them all those shoulds. All those shoulds, all those woulds, all those could'ves, all those didn'ts, all those aren'ts, right? I'm not the only one who's heard, you aren't good at that. You aren't enough. Oh, the stories we tell ourselves. That no one else told me that. That's a story I created in my own mind. Not enoughness. We are enough. Each and every one of us. So we remove those hidden beliefs by coming into community and sanding each other off and polishing each other up. Right? Because if it's in front of us, it's for us. If I'm rubbing up against something, if I'm being triggered by something, if I'm exploring something new in my experience, it's only an opportunity, like Taria said in her meditation. It's just more data. It's just more data for us to take in and explore. And so we talk about the beloved community. Oh, I could talk forever, I'm so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Because that was only half my talk. You guys have another 45 minutes? Yeah, you do. I know. You're loving it. No matter what our circumstances are, we come into this beautiful, beloved community, the beloved community, where we show up no matter what, recognizing that no matter what our circumstances look like, seem like, if we're in prosperity and opulence, or if we're feeling a little lack, we come into this beloved community and we show up as our best selves, because every day we are that. We are doing the best that we can. And in this beloved community, oh, I see it. I see it. In this community, we are expanding, we're stretching, we are reaching new horizons, we're finding our vision, and we're looking in the right direction. The universe meets us where we're at. And so the more we come in and give this energy to this space, this beautiful building, and watch each other thrive, watch each other grow, watch each other take classes, and expand our consciousness. The more we do that together, the more we're going to need to blow off the top of this roof and put another floor on. Because that energy is divine circulating. And it will draw into us and into this beloved community all the resources that we require. It will draw to us all the people we want. We've got more chairs. Let's get more people. When we are what we are looking for, when we are what we are looking for. I'm just going to start crying up here on stage now. Meister Eckhart, he said, the eye in which I see God is the same eye in which God sees me. Stephen Levine, he said, if you can find the God inside yourself, you can find the God inside everybody. That's this beloved community. I come here every Sunday because I love looking at the divine with my own two eyes. And I know that's why you're here too. We're here to be together. So how are we going to show up as that beloved community? How are we going to show up as our best self? How are we going to raise our sights together and expand into a greater truth? That's what we get to discover all the time together here. And so, are there obstacles in my moving to higher heights? What are those? This is your homework for this week. I didn't print it out, sorry you guys. How are we the beloved community? I want you to stir in that this week. How are we the beloved community? How are we collectively showing up for everyone who enters this room? How are we collectively bringing our values into the world around us? How are we showing up for each other? Where do we need to grow and shift our consciousness so that we can be inclusive and welcoming to everyone? Are there obstacles and obstructions we think are in our way that we can help each other move? What does the beloved community mean to you? I want you to stir in that this week and remember that that holy expression of the divine is the only source you are working with. It is the only method and modality that is possible for us to create anything. And we have all of it right here, right now. Thanks so much for listening, everybody.